right, now I'm gonna test. Okay, I'm gonna test on my phone. Cool, we are on. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Cool, I can hear myself. Okay.
Perfect.
Let's see. Let me, actually, I'll keep it on. All righty. Well, hey everybody, my name is Melissa. I'll be the host for today's live Twitch demo, how to query data on Hazelcast with LINQ. We're going to wait just a few minutes to get started so we can allow more people to join.
Hey everyone.
I'll just wait a couple minutes and then we'll kick off. Really should have like music.
Yeah, like in the elevators.
Yeah, the elevators. Well, alrighty. Well, before we kick off, I'd like to introduce Emre. Emre, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do at Hazelcast?
Yeah, sure. I work in the Hazelcast. It's been a year to 2 years. I'm working as a software engineer on the .NET Client team. So, and yeah, before joining Hazelcast, I was working in the financial regulation projects, which was targeted to the United States markets and its compliance. And I'm coding since I'm 16, and yeah, it's been a lot. So yeah, I'm here.
That's awesome. And where are you based?
Well, I'm living in Mersin, Turkey, and I work remotely in Hazelcast. So it's a nice city with a lot of sun and sea.
Lovely. And what do you do for fun outside of work?
Yeah, actually, I do scuba diving, and since I'm near to sea, so and also I like to dance the Latin dance, especially with my wife. Yeah, we spend most of our times our scuba diving or within the dance.
Oh, I love it. Scuba diving is tough.
Yeah, actually, I just do it. She won't like
it. All righty. Just a few notes. If you have any questions during the demo, please feel free to add them in the chat. We'll answer them during the Q&A after the demo. And let's kick off now. It's over to you, Emre.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So today's topic is the how to query data on Hazelcast with LINQ. I mean, the Hazelcast is developed in Java, but has different clients on the different platforms. So one of them is .NET, C#, and most of the people, and especially the .NET developers, knows that the LINQ is a very powerful function in the .NET world. So we just introduced the LINQ provider over the Hazelcast clusters. So without interacting with the SQL strings, SQL statements, so users can write their queries with LINQ functions. So let me talk about a bit LINQ. So it is abstracted from the data source. Whatever your data source, the LINQ user doesn't matter. I mean, doesn't matter for them, since it's very abstracted from the data layer, and it can work on. I mean, provider can work on the different things. For example, big databases has LINQ providers like Microsoft SQL and the PostgreSQL, etc. And of course, since it's based on a Fluent API functionalities, it has IntelliSense support. So, I mean, dealing with the SQL statements as strings, and sometimes you miss a silly mistake and you spend hours to debug it. So LINQ decrease that debug amount. And also it is checked on the compile time, so you can't compile the wrong query with the LINQ functions. And as I said before, that since there is no string interaction, it's easy to use and it's less error prone. So our LINQ provider is built on SQL, or our SQL services. Since Hazelcast supports the SQL, and the LINQ works with the SQL service, whatever the query is typed within LINQ, it translates into the SQL statement and talks with the Hazelcast cluster. So let me show you how to use LINQ within a small demo. So before starting to the demo, we need a cluster. So I'm suggesting to people to use Viridian, which is serverless solution of the Hazelcast. You don't have to deal anything. You just create the cluster and connect and use it. So I create an account before the install. So, and also I just created a cluster within a tier, free tier. So as my cluster now is working, but to connect to the cluster, we need to have some credentials. So as you can see, there's a connect button, and whenever I clicked on it, and I see some different clients on the top of. So we will go with the Hazelcast Net Client. And this is the example project, but we won't use it. So I click to the advanced setup. So as you can see here, these are the credentials belong to my cluster. So I copied them and introduced in my demo project before the meeting. So you can just copy these tokens, and also you should download the SSL certificate from here, and you will give the path of the SSL certificate to Hazelcast client, and then it's ready to go. So let me open my project. By the way, these examples and the codes are taken from the LINQ. There is also a blog post about how to use LINQ over the Hazelcast clusters. So these examples come from there. And yeah, this is a typical .NET project. And before using our client, we should provide some configurations. As you can see in here, I just provide my cluster name, and I should paste the discovery token here. And also the Viridian works with SSL. So I should provide the other required parameters, which can be taken from the panel that I showed in a few seconds before. And then I provide a logger to the Hazelcast client. Hazelcast client works with the iLogger interface, which is very common in the .NET world. And we just provide a simple console to our iLogger. And this is just a util function that I wrote just before come here to hide my discovery token and the other tokens from the sharing screen. So there's nothing to think on it. After that, my options are ready, and I built my options, and I can start the new Hazelcast client. And whenever my client is connected to the cluster, it is available to use. So before using the client and Hazelcast, we need some data. So I prepared a few items to put the data on the cluster. These are about Academy Oscar Awards, some of the recent examples. So I have two different models. One of them is the award, and the other is about the movie, the film. And at the bottom, let me show here, you can see my model definitions. By the way, these are the records. Class can be used. Records is also fine. The .NET client can understand the records, and it serializes the class and the records with zero configuration. As you can see, I didn't mention about anything serialization because the with .NET 5.2, we introduced the zero config serialization. The data models are serialized on the fly. And I create a few models with some bunch of field, and I just called my map, and I put my data. That is the same for two others, as you can see here. So the data is put on the cluster, and we can also check it here, whether the map has data or not. I just open my cluster, and there's a management center button. Okay, the management center is open. Okay, perfect. So there's maps section on the left. As you can see, the best picture map is created, and it has 3 entries. And so I didn't run yet, but yeah, I just ran before this session. So my data is already put to the cloud. Let's go back to the code. So we said our data is in the cluster. Now we want to query our data. So before querying, we need a step which requires by Hazelcast. So currently SQL engine doesn't know anything about our data. We should map our models and fields with the SQL engines way. So we will create the mapping, and the mapping will be on the best picture IMAP, and it has fields like we defined on our model just here on the code. So we should define their types. And also, as you can see, there is a different things. It says our title comes from the keys title. What does it mean? So while creating our map, our key type is the Academy Award, another model, and the value is another model. So we can distinguish their fields on the mapping. So we can use any fields from the key or any fields from the value type. And after defining our fields and their types, so we should also tell the SQL engine how our data can be serialized to be queried. So Also, Hazelcast has a great serialization format, which is called compact. It was available after 5.1 and after on Hazelcast, and it is available after 5.2 in the .NET client. So it's very nice and the compact way to serialize the data. Our zero config serialization based on the compact format, serialization format. So we tell the SQL engine that the key format can be serialized with compact, and the name of that serialization is the Academy Award. So the name comes from the name of the type, as you can guess. But if you implement your own serialization, and I mean by using the compact, you can define your field names as you like. And also our value format is also compact, and the corresponding compact type name is the field, which comes from the field model, as you can see. So, okay, we tell the Hazelcast, we put the data and we map our data to SQL. So we are ready to query to our data. Before LINQ, and we were providing our SQL statements as strings, as you can see here. So the client has SQL service within it function execute query async. Whatever you provide SQL statement here, it will be executed on the Hazelcast cluster, and the result will be fetched as a enumerable data. So, as we said beginning of the session, we don't want to use the string SQL statements, because the .NET has a great functionalities, which is linked to today's topic. So we will go with that. So we create the map above, as you remember here. So our map will have a function which is called as async queryable. This is a common name for the LINQ providers. To call the LINQ providers, it's a common extension. So whenever you call that as async queryable function, you can reach the LINQ functionalities over your map. So it was same. It is almost same with the built-in data structures. Like, let's say you have a list in C#.NET, you can call the LINQ functions like where, select, min, max, etc. And it is same for the R map. So let's say we would like to get the movies which I liked, the name of the movies which I liked. So I put a condition. The P is the map entry, and it has, as you can see here, it has value and the key like in the key pair entries in the C#. So we will access to the value of that entry, and we will get the entries which is true. And also we don't want to get the all data. So what we can do, we can project the fields that we like to fetch. So I'll fetch only the field names here. So which is also stored in the value of the map entry. And after that, this expression will return an async queryable object. So it can be fetched within the await for each, since everything goes through network calls. The best way to use such execution is async. And by the way, all .NET client is based on the async manner. And so in each iteration, of course, asyncly, the async queryable object will be awaited. And since we just only ask from the server, the movie names, film names. As you can see, our return object type is the string, and this is the plain string. So all movies will be printed into the screen. So this is the example to how to put a condition and project our fields. And another example for the LINQ. Before going to forward, as you can see, this is the corresponding similar SQL statement to the our LINQ. Of course, this is not produced by our LINQ provider. It's just typed by me, and it fetches the same data, and our LINQ will be functionally provide equal SQL statement. And this is how we use SQL statement if you don't use the LINQ provider. And let's continue to another example. Let's say we would like to fetch some big budget movies. So as you can see, I just called as async queryable, which leads to the LINQ function, which enabled me to access the LINQ functions. So I call the where, and I would like to get the value type, which is the film budgets bigger than 10 million. And I get the same object here. By the way, this time the return map entry will be different because we didn't provide any projection to our LINQ provider. We just asked all entries which satisfies this condition. So the big budget ones, as you can see, the type is a map entry, and it has Academy Award and the film types in it. So let's fetch it. I put our result object into for each. So in a simple, in a basic tip here, whenever the for each calls the next move next method of these enumerable object, all LINQ expression tree will be parsed into the SQL and sent to the SQL, and we'll wait the result of that query. So after this line, nothing happened. We just built our query and we didn't execute yet. Whenever we call the for each, it will trigger to the execution and fetching the data. As you can see, this time the entry is different because, as I said, we get all entries, and entry has two different values. Since it's a map, it has key and value sections underneath. So we would like to print our film name and its budget. And this is the example to fetching the all entry as a whole without projecting it. And another example is the anonymous projections. Like, what does it mean? Let's say we would like to project our data into something not exist. I mean, let's say it will be created on the compile time, on the fly. So in same way, we just call our map, and map has as async queryable extension which leads to LINQ. So we put a condition. By the way, as you can see, this time we just we put the field from the key section of the entry. As you can see, this time we query over we put our condition from the key section of the entry, and we will fetch the values of the value section of the map entry, and which was the field. So in projection part, as you can see, we create an anonymous object here, and we put a new fields on it. there is no field. I mean, the field is introduced by us, the field name, and which will represent the field name of the map entry. And also, let's say we will have another field which is director, and which comes from the value which is field, which comes from the film's director. And this is an example to anonymous projection over with LINQ and over the Hazelcast. And as you can see, when we fetch the data, our entry is anonymous type, and it says A apostrophe. And the fields are, as you can see, film and director, which is declared just above. And as you can see, there is no other field except these, because we just introduced both those two. And so we can project and use the anonymous type as it is seen in here. So I forgot to mention one thing. So in here, in here in the examples, I keep saying that you should call the extension method over the Hazelcast map. The Hazelcast LINQ provider is another package. I mean, it is released as another package to the Hazelcast.net client. So you should add that package to your project, like here. As you can see, our dependencies are the Hazelcast.net client, and also we need to depend on the LINQ async package. These two are working together. So in order to use the LINQ in our project with Hazelcast, we should also include the Hazelcast.net LINQ async package. It is available on the Nugget. And after adding that, it will appear. It can be called from our project. So after here, I talked about the code and the usage examples. So let me run and show the output to you. Okay, after here, it's just the regular outputs from the client. But after that, as you can see in the debug level, logger level, we can see the SQL statements produced by our LINQ provider in order to debug on it. So as you can see, the query is we don't fetch all objects. We just provide the asked fields in this statement. So there is no unnecessary fetch. And after that, as you can see, other SQL produced SQL statements can be seen in the logs here. But as I said before, the debug log level should be enabled to see the produced LINQ statements. And also, which is nice to mention, most of the time the SQL queries, I mean, some of the time people just append value into the string, which is not a good thing. It leads to it can be lead to SQL injection. But even in safe places, ad hoc queries are not good on the SQL engines. So in for each query, the SQL engine should work and do some calculations. So by using the LINQ provider, we just produce the one statement, and as you can see, the params can be different. but that statement won't consume computational power as much as the ad hoc queries. So, which is a nice thing to have better performance on the querying part. And yeah, that's about the usage link over the Hazelcast. And everything worked on the Hazelcast Viridian. I mean, that was easy to use and simple to integrate my project. So yeah, I think this is about the demo. Let me continue about the slides. On the slides. Yeah. Okay. So the feedbacks are important for us, and it gives us to milestones on our roadmap. So please don't hesitate to give a feedback over Slack, Hazelcast Slack developer channel, or also if you are a user of the Hazelcast.net client, you can raise any issue that you have faced within our GitHub repository. And yeah, I think that's it from me. So if you have any questions, I would like to add.
Thanks, Emma, for your great demo. Some questions to ask. What is the current scope of the LINQ provider?
Since LINQ is LINQ has number of functionalities. I mean, so we don't support all of them. We just currently support the where and the select functions. So as I said before, the feedbacks are important for us. If any demand reach us about other functionalities, we are happy to shape our roadmap according to those feedbacks.
Awesome. I've also added that direct link to their Slack community to join in the chat. And to continue on that question, will you add support for other functionalities?
Yeah, actually, as I said, we will shape our roadmap according to the feedbacks. So it's a similar question just before. And if we get any feedback and demand according to other functionalities, yeah, we are happy to implement it.
Great. Everybody, please join Slack channel. And how about performance?
Yeah, that's a good question. The performance, of course, it can't beat the string SQL statements since they are plain string, and the LINQ usage eventually will end up with the those SQL statements. And between those steps, the computation is required. So I can say that it can beat the direct usage of the SQL string statements, but as I said, the usage of the LINQ can save some time from the ad hoc queries. I mean, if you are a massive user of the ad hoc queries, you can benefit from the LINQ. Yeah, but as I said, if users can thinks that there's a bottleneck in the provider, we are happy to hear the results.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again for a great demo today. And thanks everybody for joining us today. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day.
Yeah, have a nice day.
Bye.